Picture this for a moment. The person you used to be still lingers inside you, not as a ghost in the mirror, but as a collection of patterns. Old thoughts looping like a scratched record, emotions that replay the same story, and memories you've carried far longer than you should. As long as these remain unexamined, your life feels stuck, as if time itself refuses to move forward. This weight doesn't always walk into the room with you. In fact, most of the time it hides in silence, pressing against your chest when you wake up, whispering doubts in the back of your mind. Don't expect too much. It shows up in promises you've made to yourself, promises to change, that somehow circle back to the same cycles. It has seeped into your nervous system, into your body chemistry, into the tiniest decisions you make without even noticing. This isn't just your past. It's a signal, an invisible broadcast of who you once were, playing on repeat, while the future version of you stays on pause. And here's the truth. You cannot step into a higher version of yourself while remaining loyal to the energy of yesterday. Most people never realize this. They try to think their way out of it, writing intentions, visualizing new realities, repeating affirmations. But beneath the surface, they're still the same person waking up with the same feelings, carrying the same story, vibrating at the same frequency they're desperate to escape. Now let's be honest with ourselves. That old self wasn't born out of choice. It was born out of survival. It was built in moments of pain, rejection, and disappointment. You didn't sit down and decide to become that version. It formed as armor. Over time, the armor became comfortable, familiar, almost invisible. You began mistaking it for your true self. But what if it's not? What if that voice inside, the one that insists you're unprepared, that it's too risky, isn't truth at all? What if it's only the echo of a version you've outgrown, a mask that no longer fits? Quantum physics and the power of identity. Quantum physics offers a profound truth. Reality is not distant or detached. It is alive, responsive, and reflective. The universe doesn't sit apart from you. It echoes you. It mirrors back the very consciousness observing it. Your energetic state is not separate from the quantum field. You are the quantum field, condensed into form. So what unfolds when you wake each morning carrying the weight of your former self? Life hands you back the same familiar patterns. Not because you're cursed, not because you lack effort, but because the universe responds with loyalty. It reflects what is consistent. And whether you know it or not, your state of being is the tuning fork. The truth is this: you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. This is why transformation is not about building a brand new mask or a polished persona. It is about dissolving what never belonged to your essence. That old identity was constructed from rejection, pain, and disappointment. It served one purpose: protection. But you weren't born just to survive. You were born to expand, to rise beyond survival into creation. That burdensome version of you, the one formed in moments of loss, humiliation, or defeat, cannot access the reality you've glimpsed in your highest states. That elevated dimension isn't years away. It already exists, humming on a frequency that awaits your alignment. But here is the challenge. You cannot enter that space while feeding off the emotions of the past. You cannot recycle guilt, bitterness, or doubt and expect to step into freedom. Yesterday's energy cannot unlock tomorrow's timeline. So what is our path? We meet the old self. We see it clearly. We honor its lessons, then release it. Not with anger, but with gratitude. Because the moment you let it go, you create space to step into the quantum field, not through words or imagination, but through resonance, through the very vibration you carry now. And here lies the shift. The universe is not demanding harder work from you. It is asking you to tune differently. You are not trapped because destiny is cruel. You are trapped because you keep broadcasting the same identity. Change the broadcast, and reality reorganizes. When you release the heaviness, the labels, the pain, you'll notice something extraordinary. The world reshapes. Life responds. The field bends to your new rhythm. Not because you declared it, but because you became it. So pause here, inhale deeply, feel the stirring inside you. This awakening is not arriving from outside. It is rising from your very core. Are you ready to meet the version of yourself that has already been free all along? Then let's step forward together. The body remembers who you were. The morning begins. Your eyes open, and before you've even taken a full breath, the old world greets you. The same walls, the same thoughts circling like restless birds, the same inner dialogue whispering its lines before you've had the chance to write a new script. Maybe today will be different, you tell yourself. But the moment your feet hit the floor, your body has already made the choice for you. Why? Because long before the conscious mind awakens, the unconscious identity takes the wheel. You don't step into a brand new day. You step back into a well-worn self. The body is not just flesh and bone, it is memory. It encodes identity not as stories, but as chemistry. Emotions become chemical imprints. Habits turn into reflexes. And before you know it, you're no longer responding to life. You're simply repeating it. Each day blurs into the next until the present feels like a copy of yesterday. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that by the age of 35, nearly 95% of who we believe ourselves to be is nothing more than memorized programs, routines, reactions, emotional triggers, conditioned beliefs. In short, the you that wakes up each morning isn't truly you. It's the echo of programming, the former self replaying. Bruce Lipton takes this further. The moment you shift your perception, you literally alter your body's chemistry, which means your emotions, your energy, your state of being are not passive. They are actively shaping the reality you live in. And here lies the challenge. Transformation is not just about thinking differently. It's about breaking the body's emotional addiction to being the old version of you, the version that braces for disappointment, the one expecting abandonment, the one that quietly whispers, "I don't deserve more." Not because you're broken, but because at some point, your system decided it was safer to expect less than to risk being hurt again. That conclusion created a prison. Not a prison of walls, but of chemistry. Predictable pain became familiar, and the body clung to familiarity, mistaking it for safety. Even when it robs your health, even when it drains your joy, even when a part of you knows it is not your true self. So let me ask you, gently, without judgment, which emotions visit you most often? Is it regret? Frustration? Self-doubt? A quiet sense of being undeserving? And what if those emotions aren't random visitors at all? What if they are rehearsed? What if your body has practiced them for so long that it now depends on them, like fuel, to maintain the chemical identity of who you once were? If that is the case, then consider carefully. What kind of reality do those emotional transmissions keep attracting into your life? The magnetic power of emotional frequency. Here's a truth most people never pause to confront. Your old identity isn't just a memory. It's a magnet. The quantum field doesn't respond to the words you recite, the affirmations you repeat, or the vision board on your wall. It responds to the vibration you are constantly broadcasting. You might long for intimacy, but if your inner state is "I'm not enough," you will push connection away. You might visualize wealth, but if your core frequency is anxiety, opportunities will slip through your fingers. Not because you're unworthy, but because your nervous system is still calibrated to a version of you that isn't ready to receive. This is why you can read every book, attend countless workshops, and fill journals with affirmations, yet still feel stuck. Transformation isn't just mental, it's energetic, cellular, and vibrational. So what's the first step? We shine a light on this cycle, not to shame it, but to see it clearly. To recognize that who you've been is not a life sentence. It's a frequency you've been rehearsing, one you can stop practicing the moment you refuse to keep wearing it. This isn't about tearing yourself down. It's about setting yourself free. It's about releasing the burden of a self that only existed to help you survive a past that no longer exists. Here lies the paradox. The instant you begin observing the old identity without fusing with it, when you watch it from the eyes of your higher self, you step into the role of the witness. And in quantum physics, the witness changes everything. The very act of observing collapses possibilities into form. The moment you see your old self as a pattern, you are no longer trapped by that pattern. You become the awareness behind it. That recognition is the spark of an entirely new reality. Let's take it deeper. Neuroscience confirms what ancient mystics already knew. When you observe your thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, the prefrontal cortex activates, the part of your brain linked to conscious choice and creativity. At the same time, the amygdala, the survival center responsible for fear and reactivity, begins to quiet. Brain scans reveal something remarkable. Within weeks of practicing this observer awareness, old neural pathways tied to the former self weaken from disuse, while new circuits tied to your elevated identity grow stronger through repetition. This is why ancient meditation masters taught the art of witnessing. Long before neuroscience, they understood that awareness of thought without attachment rewires the mind. They knew that when consciousness becomes aware of itself, transformation is set in motion. And it's not just the brain that shifts. Your entire nervous system begins to recalibrate. Instead of living in fight or flight, your body shifts into rest and repair. Your heart rate balances. Your breath deepens. Your inner rhythm synchronizes. In this state of coherence, creativity flourishes, healing unfolds, and possibilities once blocked by fear reveal themselves. So now, I invite you into something more meaningful than passive listening. Take a moment, breathe deeply, then declare aloud, or even write below, "I am ready to release the version of me that no longer belongs to my destiny." This isn't a performance. It isn't a ritual for show. It's a signal to the field, a bold interruption of the cycle, a declaration that you are unavailable for yesterday's patterns. And if these words stir something ancient within you, if they awaken a quiet knowing that you are meant for more, then you are already aligning with the frequency of change. This space isn't about information, it's about transformation. And if you feel ready for that evolution, then you are exactly where you are meant to be. Why most manifestation methods don't work. We've been told to ask, to visualize, to trust. Yet so many remain caught in waiting for money to appear, for love to arrive, for a breakthrough to finally shift everything. And when it doesn't, doubt creeps in. We wonder, am I blocked? Am I doing something wrong? Maybe abundance isn't meant for me at all. But what if the issue isn't that your dream is too big, but that your frequency is too familiar? Here's the truth most teachings skip. The quantum field doesn't listen to what you say. It doesn't react to vision boards or daily affirmations. It mirrors only one thing: your state of being. This is the principle of alignment. True manifestation isn't about words. It's about coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are synchronized, you radiate an energetic signature the universe cannot ignore. Not a journal entry, not a whispered wish, but a lived experience carried in every breath. You cannot override your frequency with positive statements. If your daily emotional reality is anxiety, the field registers anxiety no matter how many times you write, "I am wealthy." If your inner state is loneliness, it doesn't matter how vividly you imagine partnership. The broadcast is still isolation. The field isn't cruel, it's precise. Think of it like a mirror. When you raise your arm, the reflection doesn't do the opposite. It matches you. Reality works the same way. You must shift your inner state before the reflection shifts back. Yet most people try to manifest from the mindset of their old self, attempting to reach a new future while carrying the vibration of the past. The truth is, your future self doesn't just think differently. They are different. They carry themselves differently. They speak with a calm confidence that comes from already living the life you're trying to create. They have moved from wishing to embodying. And this isn't just philosophy, it's physics. Every thought is an electrical impulse. Every emotion radiates magnetically. Together, they create a constant transmission into the quantum field. The signal isn't what you want, it's who you are. Neuroscience takes this further. Your brain produces frequencies measured in hertz. When you live in fear or doubt, you're broadcasting on chaotic beta and high gamma waves, static that pushes away the very experiences you're hoping for. It's like trying to tune into a symphony while your radio is locked on noise. Meanwhile, your heart produces an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than your brain, extending far beyond your body. When you live in gratitude, appreciation, or love, your heart enters coherence. And research shows this coherence reorganizes the information your field is broadcasting, influencing not just your body, but the world around you. Think about that. You are not only a body walking through space, you are an electromagnetic transmitter, radiating signals that shape your encounters, your opportunities, and even your synchronicities. This is why two people can walk into the same room, facing the same circumstances, yet have entirely different outcomes. One carries a frequency of openness and worthiness, and doors seem to appear. The other transmits doubt and disconnection, and the same doors remain invisible. The field responds to both with precision. So pause and ask yourself, what are you transmitting? Does your energy align with the reality you claim you want? Or are you still sending out scarcity while longing for prosperity? Fear while wishing for love? Doubt while hoping for freedom? It's like trying to hear music that's always been playing, but your dial is stuck on static. Until you change the station, the song remains hidden. And if this message resonates with you, let it be a wake-up call. This isn't about superficial positivity. It's about authentic, energetic alignment. Because the cosmos doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the frequency etched into your nervous system, the observer effect. Becoming the chooser. One of the most revolutionary insights in quantum physics is Heisenberg's observer effect. The simple act of observing collapses possibility into form. But here's the deeper twist. It isn't just about observation. It's about who you are in the moment of observing. Your state of being is what determines which reality takes shape. Mystic teacher Neville Goddard captured it in a single line. You are not manifesting, you are choosing. Let that settle in. You are not pulling a distant future into the present. You are tuning yourself into the frequency of a future that already exists, selecting it and aligning with it. But here's the catch. You cannot align with a reality your current self doesn't know how to hold. That's why transformation must happen within. You don't drag outcomes toward you. You rise into the version of yourself who naturally lives them. This is why manifestation without identity shift feels exhausting, like moving mountains. You're trying to construct a dazzling future on the fragile foundation of an outdated self. No matter how beautiful the design, if the ground beneath is unstable, the structure collapses. Think of someone raised in scarcity, attempting to manifest abundance while their nervous system is still coded in lack. They may repeat affirmations of wealth, but every time they see a bill or open their bank account, their body tightens, their breath shortens, stress hormones surge. What signal does that send? Not wealth, but fear. The field responds to that authentic vibration, not the surface-level words. This is why so many feel stuck, even while practicing all the right techniques. The true shift must occur at the root, in the nervous system, in the cellular memory, in the unconscious programming that directs almost every action and reaction. Identity transformation isn't just about changing thoughts. It's about rewriting the operating system through which you meet reality. Ask yourself, how does your former self walk into a room? How do they carry their shoulders? How shallow is their breath? What tone colors their voice? How do they meet stress or opportunity? Every micro-behavior is a broadcast. Every moment is a signal, and the quantum field listens. Now imagine your future self. They walk with a quiet assurance. Their shoulders are loose, no longer burdened by the past. Their breath is slow, steady, and embodied trust in life. Their voice carries conviction because they've stopped questioning their worth. Stress doesn't consume them. It refines them. They don't overlook opportunities. They recognize them instantly, because fear no longer clouds their sight. This is the question that matters more than any method. Who must I become to resonate with the life I desire? Not someday. Now in thought, in feeling, in behavior, in embodiment. Because the moment you step into being, the universe mirrors it back. Not eventually, but instantly. Sometimes not in physical form at first, but in energy, in synchronicities, in signals that whisper, you've tuned in. You'll know because it won't feel like pushing anymore. It will feel like alignment, like flow, like the next step unfolding with ease. That is when the field responds. That is when the invisible becomes undeniable. Your future self is already here. You don't need to build the new you from scratch. You only need to remember them. There is already a version of you, vibrant, whole, magnetic, that lives at the frequency of everything you've ever asked for. This isn't some far-off possibility or imagined ideal. It's a real, present identity that exists right now in the quantum field. The only thing separating you from that version is vibration, your current state of resonance. This may sound radical, but quantum physics has been whispering it for decades. Reality is not a straight line. Time is not a rigid sequence. You are not trudging along a fixed path from here to some distant there. What exists instead is a vast ocean of present moments, all unfolding simultaneously. all accessible based on the frequency you embody. Scientists call it the multiverse. Mystics call it infinite possibility. Different language, same truth. The self you dream about, the healed, confident, abundant you, is not arriving in some future. They already exist in a different vibrational state. Your task is not to chase them, but to close the distance by tuning into their frequency. Now let's bring this into action. Ask yourself, if my highest self were already living through me today, how would they think? Your true self does not process life through fear. It doesn't spiral in scarcity. It radiates trust. It moves with centered confidence and magnetic calm. It doesn't struggle to manifest. It simply resonates with coherence. Its very energy speaks before a single word is said, and reality rearranges itself around that harmony. Here's the key. The universe doesn't respond because you deserve. It responds because you align. Resonance is not something you beg for. It's something you embody. That's why the greatest shift you can make today isn't external. It's not about earning more, doing more, or proving more. It's about identity. About choosing to retire the outdated self and stepping into the one that already exists. Not because it's visible yet, but because you've decided to meet it in vibration. You step forward first, and then the path reveals itself. So, let's do a small experiment together. Close your eyes. Imagine stepping into a room where your future self already exists. They're not a stranger. They're familiar, because they are you. They've always been waiting for you to remember. Notice how they carry themselves. The ease in their posture, the light in their eyes, the certainty in their tone. They don't argue for their worth. They embody it. They've released the weight of old fears. They've uninstalled outdated programming. They've shed the mask of survival, and what remains is truth. Now ask them, what did you release to become this free? Because the new self isn't built by adding more. It's revealed by stripping away what was never truly yours. Layers of fear, shame, expectation, and doubt. Underneath, there is only essence, only clarity, only alignment. This is the real transformation. You are not becoming. You are remembering. You are not inventing a reality. You are tuning into one that already exists, right here, right now. And here's the miracle. The moment you stop clinging to the old frequency and begin to embody the new, the field shifts. At first, it's subtle, an inspired thought, an unexpected encounter, an inner nudge towards something your past self would have ignored. Follow it, and the signal grows stronger. Coincidences multiply, opportunities align, life stops feeling like resistance and begins to flow as reception. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: the old self does not need to be destroyed. It only needs to be honored, thanked, and gently released. It kept you alive, but it cannot keep you free. It was never your final identity, only the training ground for who you were always meant to remember, what stabilization looks like. In the beginning, the changes may feel almost invisible. You wake up a little lighter, more peaceful than usual. You notice yourself doing things differently, choosing a calmer response, taking an unfamiliar path, or saying yes to opportunities your old self would have ignored. These moments are not minor. They are quantum shifts. Every time you choose from your new identity rather than your old one, you collapse a new possibility into existence. Each choice is like tuning a dial, locking you into a different channel of reality. With repetition, momentum builds. And as it does, you begin to notice what quantum scientists call non-local correlations, synchronistic events that defy logic. You think of someone, and they reach out. You need something, and it appears. You follow an inner nudge, and the timing aligns perfectly. These aren't coincidences. They are evidence, proof that your new electromagnetic signature is attracting experiences that match your elevated state. And the people around you will feel it too. Some will say you seem different, though they can't explain why. Others may feel uncomfortable because your elevation reflects their own limitations. Both are natural. Both are signs that your frequency is shifting. This stage of stabilization isn't about judgment or conflict. It's about alignment. Your new vibration naturally attracts those who resonate with it, while creating distance from those who don't. Instead of resisting this, allow it. This is how the new identity anchors itself, by surrounding you with what supports it. So the question isn't whether the change is happening. The question is, are you willing to keep choosing it? Each decision, each thought, each action is either reinforcing the old self or strengthening the new one. And the more you embody the elevated self, the more your world reorganizes to reflect it. Because stabilization isn't just about feeling different, it's about becoming consistent. And consistency is what turns small shifts into a new reality. The 4 phases of identity transformation. Knowledge alone cannot change your life. Insights, teachings, and ideas, no matter how profound, remain powerless until they are embodied. Transformation becomes real when you live it, breathe it, declare it, and choose it with your whole being. This is the moment where the new timeline takes root, not through struggle, but through ceremony, intention, and resonance. Right now, let's walk together through a process of quantum identity transformation. Not by forcing, not by wishing, but by releasing the self that no longer serves and embodying the one who has been waiting for you. Phase 1. Naming the old self. You cannot release what you refuse to recognize. So begin by giving your former self an identity. It could be a word, a symbol, a simple name that captures the version of you that has been living on repeat, cycling in fear, doubt, or limitation. Maybe it's the skeptic, the controller, the perfectionist, or simply the one who settled. Whatever arises, claim it, name it. Because what is named can be honored and released. Now pause. Acknowledge that identity. Thank it. It helped you survive. It kept you safe when you needed protection. But understand this. It is not the one who will guide you forward. Phase 2. Releasing the old self. Visualize yourself carrying this identity like heavy luggage, bags stuffed with old stories, painful memories, and limiting patterns. Feel the weight of it pressing down. Now imagine setting it down. Place it gently on the ground. See yourself walking forward lighter, taller, freer. You don't need to destroy it. You simply need to let it go. With that release, you open space for a new frequency to enter, one that has always been waiting for you. Phase 3. Embodying the new self. Ask yourself now, who am I when I no longer carry that weight? Stand or sit as this new version. Feel the posture, the breath, the calm confidence of the self who already lives in alignment. Notice their rhythm, how they speak with clarity, how they respond with presence, how they no longer chase but attract. Step into that version, not later, but now. Breathe as them, think as them, move as them. Phase 4. Anchoring with declaration. Now seal this shift with words. Say them aloud or within, but say them with presence. I no longer materialize the past. I attune to who I truly am. Repeat it again, slowly, deliberately. This is not a mantra, it is a frequency. a signal that cuts through the static of the old self, a message carried into your very cells and broadcast into the field. Because your body is listening, your energy is listening, and so is the universe. As you vibrate in this identity, the field reorganizes, invisible possibilities begin to surface. People aligned with your energy begin to appear. Your external reality shifts, not because you begged for it, but because you became the version of yourself who naturally receives it. This is resonance, and resonance is reality. Integration. Walking with the new self ceremony is never just a one-time event. It's a threshold you can return to, a frequency you step back into each time the old self reappears. And it will return, not to sabotage you, but to be acknowledged, to be witnessed, to be gently released once again. Every time it resurfaces, you're offered a choice, and each choice matters. This is where many people struggle. They think the reappearance of the old self means they've failed. But in truth, it's simply the echo of neural pathways carved by years of repetition. Think of it like a river that has flowed the same direction for decades. Even when you redirect the stream, the current will naturally want to slip back into its old channel until the new one grows deep and strong enough to hold its course. So when old emotions arise, and they will, recognize them for what they are: energy leaving your system. These moments aren't signs of regression. They're signs of detox. Your nervous system is literally shedding the chemical addiction it once had to being the old version of you. In these moments, the key isn't resistance, it's compassion. Speak to yourself with gentleness. This is just energy passing through. This is not who I am anymore. This is my body clearing space for the new. This simple acknowledgement allows the energy to flow rather than stagnate. Some days will feel easy, others heavier. There will be mornings when you wake up and feel like the old self has returned completely. Don't panic. These are integration days, the moments when your consciousness is stitching the new identity deeper into your very cells. On those days, choose with intention. Even if you don't feel like it, align your actions with your elevated self. Walk as them, speak as them, decide as them. So here's a simple daily practice. Before the noise of the world arrives, ask yourself, which version of me will create reality today? Then choose, consciously, kindly, powerfully. Because every choice is a ripple in the field. Each time you choose alignment, that ripple travels outward, reshaping timelines, not only for you, but for everyone your life touches, living as your new self. You've reset your identity, you've honored and released the past, and you've stepped into the field as someone new. And this is the mystery revealed. The moment you stop clinging to who you were, reality begins to rearrange itself around who you are. Not in some distant future, not after years of waiting, but now, in this very moment. Because change does not begin when the world moves. It begins the instant you do. Maybe you can already feel it. That strange, light sensation in your chest. That mixture of peace and possibility. That inner whisper saying, something has shifted. That isn't imagination. That is the quantum field responding. Reality has never been fixed or rigid. It is alive, dynamic, fluid, waiting not for you to chase it, but for you to tune into it. This is the essence of quantum manifestation. You don't drag the future toward you, you rise to meet it. You don't force the world to bend. You become the frequency that makes bending inevitable. Because vibration is the blueprint of reality. And when your vibration changes, life itself cannot stay the same. So pause and look around. Nothing may appear different at first glance, but you are different. And that difference changes everything. From this moment forward, every thought you entertain, every emotion you embody, every action you take is either reinforcing your new timeline or pulling you back into the past. And the truth is, you've already chosen. The real practice now, the true practice begins. Not in ideas, not in theory, but in the living of your daily life. When old emotions surface, you'll remember. This is residue, not identity. When familiar patterns attempt to play themselves out, you'll pause and say, that version of me no longer materializes. When fear whispers, you'll meet it with presence. When doubt resurfaces, you'll breathe deeper, speak slower, act from the place your former self never had access to. Because you are no longer broadcasting the old signal. Your frequency has shifted, and that shift carries consequences. Beautiful, unexpected, soul-expanding consequences. Some will be obvious, clarity arriving out of nowhere, synchronicities stacking in your favor, people responding to you in new ways. Others will be subtle but just as profound. A calm sense of alignment, ideas flowing with ease, perfect timing unfolding in moments you used to dismiss as coincidence. The observer effect in action. The observer effect is no longer an abstract theory. It's working through you. With every moment you remain in your new identity, you collapse possibility into form. You are not passively watching life. You are actively selecting reality through the frequency you hold as you observe. This is why ancient wisdom spoke of ego death, of dying before you die. They weren't describing destruction, but rebirth. They knew that to step into a higher self, the old identity must be released, not violently, but consciously. Honored, thanked, and dissolved. And you've just done that. You've experienced a sacred death and rebirth, not as metaphor, but as quantum mechanics embodied. Closing the container. As we bring this container to a close, I want to invite something deeper than a like or a subscribe. If this journey stirred something in you, if it reminded you that there is a self within you that is whole, radiant, infinite, then leave your signature in the field. Comment below. The former me has been dissolved. Let those words ripple outward. Let them carry your vibration into the field, marking the moment you declared the old identity complete. And if this felt like more than just a video, if it felt like remembrance, then know you are in the right place. This is not just content. This is a frequency. A space for those of us choosing coherence over chaos, resonance over repetition, evolution over survival. Subscribe not as an act of routine, but as an act of alignment. To stay connected, yes, but more importantly, to stay coherent. To remain in resonance with a collective field of beings remembering who they are. Because you are not walking alone. You are part of a living field, a movement of consciousness awakening to its quantum nature. And once you've remembered, you cannot go back. The old you have fulfilled its role. The new you have already begun writing the next chapter. And reality? It's listening. Now that you understand how to dissolve the former self and embody the new, it's time to go further. There are specific quantum practices that make this transformation effortless and automatic. Watch why most people struggle with quantum manifestation, even though it's simple, to discover the missing piece that will lock this process into place and make it unstoppable.